We begin tonight with the powerful testimony from the survivors of last month's shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs, where they spoke about the horror they experienced and blamed the violent and hate-filled rhetoric from the right for the deadly massacre. Michael Anderson recalled bartending at Club Q that night, the night before Transgender Day of Remembrance.
This shooter entered our safe space in our home with the intention of killing as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. They used a military-style weapon that exists solely for the intention of killing other human beings and began to hunt us down as if our lives meant nothing. To the politicians and activists who accuse LGBTQ people of grooming children and being abusers, shame on you. As leaders of our country, it is your obligation to represent all of us, not just the ones you happen to agree with.
Another survivor, James Slaw, was preparing to leave with his partner and sister when a bullet pierced his right arm.
To my horror, my sister, Charlene, was bleeding out. She had been shot over 5 times. My heart rended as she tried to dial 911 with her good arm outstretched. I called out to her, and I heard no response. Outside of these spaces, we are continually being dehumanized, marginalized, and targeted. The fear-based and hateful rhetoric surrounding the LGBTQ+ community, especially around trans individuals and drag performers, leads to violence. It incites violence.
The shooting at Club Q tragically took the lives of 5 people, and 17 others were injured. The massacre coming amid a rise in hate crimes against LGBTQ people. California State University San Bernardino found that reports of hate crimes against LGBTQ+ people increased by 51% in major cities in 2021. It's also a record-breaking year for anti-LGBTQ+ bills in state legislatures across the country, with more than 300 introduced just this year alone. That includes Florida's Don't Say Gay law, banning discussion of sexuality and gender identity, which brought with it a massive 400% increase in anti-LGBTQ hate rhetoric online. At today's hearing, Brandon Wolf, survivor of the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, didn't mince words, calling Republicans responsible.
For years, cynical politicians and greedy grifters have joined forces with right-wing extremists to pour gasoline on anti-LGBTQ hysteria and terrorize our community. My own governor, Ron DeSantis, has trafficked in that bigotry to feed his insatiable political ambition and propel himself toward the White House.
And speaking of Ron DeSantis, after President Biden signed into law the Respect for Marriage Act that would ensure federal recognition of same-sex and interracial marriage, the would-be 2024 Republican presidential candidate made clear he does not think protecting human rights is necessary.
Was interracial marriage being even debated in this country? Nobody's talking about that. They're using the power, I think, of the federal government in ways that will absolutely put religious institutions in difficult spots if you have people that are so inclined to be very aggressive against that. And I don't think that there was certainly no need to do this.
Joining me now are 3 people who spoke at that hearing: Club Q survivors Michael Anderson and James Slaw, and Sarah Kate Ellis, president and CEO of GLAAD. I want to thank you all for being here, and first start by asking how you're doing. Michael, how are you doing?
You know, we take it a day at a time, I feel, with the group of survivors that, you know, I'm close with and being here with James. You know, it's a day-by-day process. I mean, being here in Washington, D.C. is absolutely insane, and being able to have this platform to speak for my friends that have passed that you just showed on the screen earlier, that's why we're here, and that's how I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing it. Yeah, and James, how are you doing? I know you're still injured, and your sister, Charlene, how is she doing as well?
So I'm healing day by day. It is a day-by-day process, and I didn't expect to be here, honestly. After just 3 weeks, you know, it's definitely surreal.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, the thing about it is neither of you expected to be activists. It wasn't your goal. You just went out to have fun, right, and to be at the club. But you are an activist, Sarah Kate. This is what you do, and advocacy is what you do. So I want to just let you give us sort of a big picture here. There's a poll that is out from GLAAD, your organization, that says that 72% of transgender people are now more fearful. 48% of LGBTQ plus people are more fearful. Is that just because of the mass shootings like Pulse and Club Q, or is it also because of the laws and the rhetoric?
I think so. That actually was conducted right before Club Q. So I can't even imagine how fearful our community is now. And it is because of the environment and the culture that we're living in. We just saw Ron DeSantis flat out lie, and nobody held him accountable, because actually Clarence Thomas is the one who said that he wants to go after Obergefell, he wants to go after Loving, and these are decisions that help interracial marriage, that support LGBTQ marriages, and so there is a direct attack on us, and he's one of the biggest attackers on us, actually. His rhetoric has been turned into fuel and a fire on social media that then coalesces people to create action that's violent against us. And so it is a continual thing that we're seeing at a level that we've never seen it before. And just to add to that, we've seen over 150 attacks on LGBTQ events this year so far. We've never even had to count those because there weren't attacks on LGBTQ events. But because of these anti-LGBTQ laws, because of these right-wing politicians and this unchecked social media, it's created a climate for our community that has us in fear. But we won't back down.
Well, the one thing I will refute is that Clarence Thomas left Loving out. But he He left Loving out. He's an interracial marriage. Wonder why he left that out. But he did say that he would like to see Lawrence v. Texas go, which would mean literally kick in the door, can arrest you just for being gay. That was the Texas case. And he said he wanted to also go after contraception. But to the point of the laws, as you did mention, what we've seen right now is we've had more than 300, we're going to put a chart right up on the screen that's got a map to it. More than 300 laws that target specifically LGBTQ plus people. Half of them target transgender people specifically. 23 states have introduced these laws. 13 have already passed them. And I wonder, just for the two of you to just, the laws themselves are not violence, but the laws are connected to violence. And what do you think when you hear legislators, people like Lauren Boebert, say things like, take your children to church, not drag bars, saying the Assistant Secretary of Health is out here trying to empower children to become transgender. The word is groom, Richard, not empower. Calling people groomers. A North Carolina preschool using LGBTQ flashcards with a pregnant man to teach kids colors. We went from reading Rainbow to Randy Rainbow in a few decades. That kind of rhetoric and those laws. How do they impact you?
It makes me quite angry, and I think we all agree this is absolutely insane that they continue to use this very harmful and violent-inducing language. But specifically to Lauren Boebert, she thinks that children are safer in churches than at drag shows. I'd like to see the statistics behind that, because it appears to me that the church has a serious problem with this exact thing she's accusing drag queens of doing, and that's unacceptable as well. But it seems like a lot of projection to me, and specifically Ron DeSantis. I am from Florida. I just moved out of Florida, again, back to Colorado just 2 months ago, and it was because largely of the policies Ron DeSantis is promoting. I did not feel welcome there anymore. I did not feel accepted there or safe there anymore. I didn't want to be a part of his mini-fascist regime he's creating down in the South. And to me, he just seems like he's copying Donald Trump's playbook, and I was not comfortable with that. And I'm glad I'm in Colorado now with the nation's first openly gay governor in our history, who is a decent, kind, respectable man who supports our community, and I'm grateful for that.
And that is sort of one of the many ironies, right? I mean, Jared Polis is a history-making figure. I mean, I believe that he was a history maker as the first married gay man in Congress, and now he's the first gay governor of the state of Colorado, so he's a history-making figure. So Colorado is a state that's kind of going in both those directions at once, right? I mean, it's a place that in some ways is the most loving state. I grew up in Denver. In some ways, it's the most right-wing state. And how do you feel as a Coloradan living in a state that is both of those things, especially now?
Yeah, so I've always kind of seen that dichotomy. And part of it actually is one of the reasons I didn't come out for a long time. It is scary, it is fearful, but at a certain point, you just have to be okay with who you are and you need to be loud and proud. So that's, where I take that. And Colorado needs change in some places. And then, of course, in other places, you're okay to be who you are. So that's, I think, why I'm here is I want to help be that change.